Life is a collection of choices and actions, and every small decision can impact our destiny in ways we don't always perceive. Epictetus, one of the greatest masters of Stoicism, reminds us of the power of reflection, of maintaining daily practices, and of seeing beyond the everyday chaos. And believe me, in just 3 days, it's possible to plant the seeds for a calmer, fuller, and more purposeful life. Imagine waking up lighter with a clear mind and renewed inner strength to face any challenge. In this video, we will explore simple yet incredibly powerful habits that can kickstart this transformation. These practices are based on Stoic teachings, everyday actions that, when applied, resonate throughout our routine and can change the way we see the world. These small steps will help you access a deeper level of serenity and self-confidence. Watch until the end to discover how to apply these habits and feel the difference in your mind and spirit. Subscribe to the channel for more transformative content like the video, and leave the keyword Stoic Change in the comments. This is your opportunity to begin a journey of real and lasting change, and you'll notice the difference starting in the very first few days. 1. Morning silence. Imagine waking up before the world outside comes to life, when everything around you is silent. The sun is still rising, the streets are empty, and for a few moments, it feels like time has stopped. There is a rare, almost magical sense of absolute peace. This is the morning silence, a simple habit, yet one that carries deep and transformative power. It was exactly in a moment like this that Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, used to reflect. Surrounded by responsibilities and pressures, he sought refuge in the tranquility of the early hours, before the duties of Rome weighed down on his shoulders. He used this time to connect with his essence, reflect on his values, and strengthen his spirit for the challenges of the day. And this is what the morning silence offers us: an opportunity to meet ourselves, to connect with what truly matters before the pressures and noise of the external world take control. When you choose to rev 5 to 10 minutes as soon as you wake up to remain in silence, something special happens. In this interval, you're not just doing nothing, you're preparing the ground for a more balanced and mindful day. By closing your eyes and taking a deep breath, you feel that all the weight that usually accompanies the day starts to dissipate. There are no emails, no obligations, no rush, just you and your breath in a state of deep calm. This moment of silence is like the calm before a storm, but instead of bringing apprehension, it strengthens you. You build a fortress within yourself, cultivating the ability to face any challenge with more serenity and focus. Many of the great masters, like Epictetus and Seneca, taught that to maintain inner peace, we need to learn to shut out the outside world and listen to the inner voice that is often drowned out by distractions. The morning silence reminds us that, contrary to what we're led to believe, we don't need to start the day running. Instead, we can begin by reflecting and aligning ourselves with our essence. Imagine that, after weeks of practicing this habit, you start to notice profound changes. You feel less reactive to daily irritations, more centered in your decisions, and surprisingly, less anxious about things beyond your control. This is one of the effects of the morning silence. It not only prepares your mind for the day, but it also strengthens your spirit for life. The practice is simple, but it requires commitment. In the beginning, it may feel strange. Your mind will seek distractions, remind you of tasks, and question the purpose of doing nothing. But by persevering, you will notice that in these minutes, you're gaining a clarity and inner strength that nothing else can provide. Gradually, these minutes of silence will become the foundation of your peace and confidence. Over time, you'll realize that this moment is not just a pause, but an essential preparation for everything to come. It's like you're recharging your energy, arming yourself with courage and focus to face any situation. With each morning in silence, you remind yourself that you are the author of your life and can choose how to react, how to act, and how to face each challenge. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't touch your phone, don't rush to get out of bed. Just sit, close your eyes, and breathe. Connect with yourself and feel the serenity that only silence can bring. Allow yourself to start the day consciously, strong, and at peace, just as the greatest philosophers did. This is your moment of wisdom, of meeting yourself. 2. Conscious breathing. Breathing is a natural and automatic skill, so fundamental to our survival that we rarely stop to think about it. But what if I told you that something as simple as breathing could be the key to a more serene and balanced life? There's an ancient story that helps us understand the power of breathing. It is said that a young disciple sought a Stoic master for calm and wisdom to face his problems. He wanted to control his anxiety, overcome stress, and live with more tranquility. The master then asked the young man to sit by a lake, where the surface of the water was perfectly calm, reflecting the sky like a mirror. The master told him, "The mind is like the surface of this lake. The more agitated it becomes, the less we can see what lies beneath and appreciate the beauty around. But when we calm it, everything becomes clearer." Intrigued, the young man asked how he could achieve this peace and clarity. And the master simply replied, "Start with your breathing." This simple advice reminds us of the hidden power in the practice of conscious breathing, a tool we always carry with us but rarely use intentionally. When we talk about conscious breathing, we're talking about something more than just the act of inhaling and exhaling. It is a process of reconnection, of anchoring ourselves in the present and controlling our emotional states. And in an age where anxiety, rushing, and stress seem to dominate, learning to breathe with intention can be a game changer. Imagine yourself in a moment of pressure where your heart races, your hands sweat, and your mind runs in all directions. Instead of being swept away by this turmoil, you can access a simple yet powerful tool to return to your center. Square breathing, also known as four-square breathing. This ancient technique has been used by wise people and even special forces around the world to promote calm in extreme situations. It consists of 4 steps that help balance the nervous system and restore inner peace. First, inhale slowly for a count of 4. As the air fills your lungs, feel it like a new energy, bringing clarity and strength. Then hold your breath for 4 more seconds, allowing this calmness to spread throughout your body. Next, exhale slowly, also for a count of 4. Imagine that with this exhale, you are releasing accumulated tension, negative thoughts, and worries. Finally, keep your lungs empty for another 4 seconds, allowing your mind to relax and prepare for the next cycle. Each cycle of square breathing is like a step toward peace. It's an invitation for the mind to quiet, for the body to detox from stress, and for you in this moment of silence and calm to rediscover your inner strength. With regular practice, this technique becomes an anchor, a safe harbor you can return to in any moment of difficulty. What many don't know is that the simple act of conscious breathing regulates the nervous system, reducing cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and increasing the sense of well-being. When we practice square breathing, we're signaling to our body that everything is okay, that it can relax from the state of alert. This in itself can transform our perspective, calming the mind and creating space for a clearer and more objective view of the situations around us. Imagine the benefits this could bring to your daily life. Imagine facing a busy workday, a challenging situation, or even a difficult conversation with the ability to maintain serenity and mental clarity. This regular practice of conscious breathing allows you not only to face challenges more peacefully, but also to improve the quality of your decisions as you'll find yourself in a state of calm and balance. But that's not all. Conscious breathing, when it becomes a habit, transforms into a true exercise in self-awareness. By focusing on your breath, you become more present, more attuned to your own body, and you begin to notice subtle shifts in your emotional states. You learn to recognize when you're about to feel anxious, to identify moments of stress before they become overwhelming. This practice builds a closer relationship with yourself, providing a solid foundation for the development of unshakable inner peace. Think about this moment now. Why not take a pause and try this square breathing? Inhale deeply, feel the air enter, hold it for 4 seconds, experience that pause, exhale slowly, and let all the negativity out. Reflect on how, little by little, this simple exercise can become a valuable tool, a shield against the rush and pressures of daily life. 3. The practice of gratitude. It was a cold and misty morning in Rome, and a young apprentice was walking through the ancient stone streets. He carried within him a restlessness that he didn't know how to resolve. There was so much he wanted to achieve, so many dreams that consumed him. But as he looked around, He saw what we all see in our moments of dissatisfaction, what he lacked, what he still didn't have. His mentor, an old and wise philosopher, noticed his tense expression and invited him to walk up the hills outside the city, where they could see the city from a new perspective, and with it, the apprentice's life. As they ascended, the sage began to share a simple yet profoundly powerful practice: gratitude. He explained that often people lose their peace and the joy of the present because they are trapped in thoughts of what they still do not have or have not achieved. Gratitude, he said, is not just a pleasant practice. It is a tool to reconnect us with the present moment and with the small blessings we already have. When they reached the top, the old philosopher asked the young man to close his eyes and, for a moment, imagine that he had lost everything he considered certain. The apprentice hesitated but did the exercise. He visualized life without his family, without the small house he owned, without the simple experiences that filled his days. Then, the philosopher asked him to open his eyes and look at the city again, as if seeing his home and everything he had accomplished for the first time. This feeling, said the master, is the essence of gratitude. It is as simple as it is profound, yet few of us apply it. In our modern life, filled with distractions, we often focus only on what we lack, on future achievements and dreams not yet realized. This cycle creates a constant sense of dissatisfaction, and little by little, we erode our own happiness and inner peace. It's as if we're always running toward the horizon without ever stopping to appreciate the landscape around us. The practice of gratitude, however, has the power to break this cycle. When we dedicate a few minutes in the morning to acknowledge the small blessings around us, our health, a home, a meal, something inside us calms down. And at the end of the day, reflecting on moments that brought joy or comfort, we create a deeper connection with what truly matters. This not only helps us focus on what is essential, but also protects us from unnecessary anxieties and dissatisfaction. Imagine applying this practice in your life, waking up and dedicating the first moments of your day to noticing what is already good, what brings you peace, security, or love. And in the evening, as you reflect on the day's events, you find gratitude in the small moments: the smile of a friend, a beautiful sunset, an interesting book you started reading. Over time, this practice transforms not just the way you see the world, but your relationship with it. Gratitude is a lens that changes everything. Studies show that gratitude activates areas of the brain linked to reward and pleasure. This small daily act literally strengthens our nervous system, helping us maintain calm, resilience, and mental clarity in the midst of chaos. The philosopher knew this centuries ago, even without scientific studies, because he observed that those who practiced gratitude lived lighter, fuller lives. By committing to practicing gratitude, you'll find that it is not just a routine, but a journey of transformation. Your life will gain a new color, and your inner peace will become unshakable. Feel what it's like to view each day with renewed eyes, valuing what you already have, and finding serenity in the simplest things. For detachment from the superficial. Imagine a man named Marco, a successful executive surrounded by luxuries and accolades from his brilliant career. Every day, he wakes up in an immaculate apartment filled with expensive items he has accumulated over the years. His routine is flawless, meticulously organized, but by the end of each day, he feels an inexplicable emptiness, a bothersome sensation that haunts him, despite all his accomplishments. It's as if, despite everything he's achieved, he is trapped in an invisible snare. One day, Marco decides to take a break and travel to the countryside, away from the city and the noise that fills his life. He arrives at a simple village and stays in a modest home, devoid of the luxuries he's accustomed to. In this stripped-down environment, he experiences something he hasn't felt in a long time: peace. He walks leisurely, observes the trees, feels the wind on his face, and notices how everything around him feels incredibly alive. He is facing a forgotten sensation, a lightness that only detachment can provide. Inspired by this experience, Marco decides to evaluate everything he has accumulated in his life. Upon returning to the city, he embarks on a process of detachment. He enters his apartment, surveys each object, every item he has gathered over the years, and asks himself, does this truly bring me happiness? Does this really have value in my life? He realizes that many of these items were acquired in an attempt to fill the emptiness he felt, but in reality, they had only complicated and weighed down his life. First, he gets rid of material possessions, brand name clothes he never wore, gadgets he never took out of their boxes, furniture that takes up space but doesn't bring comfort. Each item he removes from his life is one less weight, one less tie that he undoes. Next, he starts looking at his commitments. He sees that much of his time was consumed by social obligations, by events and gatherings he attended only out of formality. He decides to simplify his schedule, reserving his time for only the things that truly matter, those that bring meaning. And finally, Marco begins to detach from emotions. He recalls old grievances, resentments, things he had carried for years that no longer served him. As he frees himself from these emotional burdens, he feels a new lightness, a freedom he had never experienced before. By letting go of the unnecessary material possessions, commitments, and emotional baggage, Marco discovers a new way of living. He realizes that true wealth isn't in everything he owns, but in the space he creates in his life for what truly matters. With each thing he lets go of, he opens space for new experiences, for deeper relationships, and, most importantly, for an inner peace that finally fills the emptiness that had always troubled him. This is the power of detachment. When we rid ourselves of what is unnecessary, we open the doors to a more meaningful life. Detachment gives us freedom, connects us to our essence, and allows us to appreciate what truly matters. So I invite you to reflect. Look around you, examine your possessions, commitments, and even your emotions. Ask yourself, does this add value to my life? Does this truly bring me joy? Allow yourself to detach, make room for what truly makes your heart sing. 5. Establishing clear purposes. In an increasingly distracted world filled with commitments and pressures, many of us lose connection with what truly matters. We wake up, face the day, but how often do we stop to reflect on why we are doing what we are doing? This leads us to live like boats adrift, without a clear destination, tossed about by the waves of chance. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, believed that living without purpose was to waste the present, the only moment we truly have control over. And this teaches us the value of having a clear and true purpose. Imagine the following scene. A man in his 30s, working intensely, absorbed by professional commitments. Day after day, he wakes up, goes to work, comes home, and repeats the routine. Deep down, he feels something is missing, but the pace never slows enough for him to figure out what that is. One day, after another exhausting day, he finds a book on Stoic philosophy in a bookstore. Opening the first page, he reads a quote from Epictetus: "Decide who you wish to be, and make it happen, action by action." It's a simple phrase, but it strikes him deeply. He realizes he has been living without intention, without a true north that makes sense to him. That night, he decides that before he sleeps, he will reflect on what truly matters. The next day, he wakes up with a new idea in mind. He wants to live his days with purpose, guided by something beyond professional goals or external obligations. And at that moment, he begins to establish a clear purpose for his day, to be kinder and more present with the people around him. Throughout the day, he feels a difference. His actions now have meaning, a purpose. He is no longer an automaton in the midst of chaos, but someone with a mission, even if it's a small one. At the end of the day, as he lies down, he feels a new kind of satisfaction, a calmness he had never known before. Establishing a clear purpose is just that, giving meaning to every action. It's what sets apart someone who merely passes through the day from someone who truly lives it. When you wake up and set a clear intention, even something simple, like being more patient or helping someone in need, that becomes your guiding star. This small reflection helps you better handle challenges and setbacks because everything you do aligns with a personal mission, something that reminds you of the why behind everything. And this is where Stoic philosophy becomes powerful, because it teaches you to be intentional in the present, to put meaning into every choice. The truth is that most people don't set a clear purpose for the day. They wake up, check their phones, reply to emails, follow their agenda without an internal direction. But when you decide to set a purpose, you gain a quiet power. Even if life around you is chaotic, you have a foundation, a point of balance. This not only gives you a sense of control, but also connects you to an inner fulfillment, a peace that few experience. And this is what Epictetus teaches us when he says we must live with intention. Think of something small you'd like to improve in your life. Maybe it's how you relate to others, maybe it's your level of focus at work, or even your health. Set that purpose for your day. Throughout the day, whenever an obstacle arises, remember that purpose. This simple habit can transform into a daily practice, a ritual that gives you clarity and direction. Imagine how your life would look a year from now if you began setting a purpose every morning. Small changes at first, but they will grow in depth and impact. Over time, these intentions will shape your character, building a stronger, more aligned version of yourself. And at the end of each day, when you look back and see what you've accomplished, you'll feel that your life has more meaning, that you are truly following a path worth pursuing. This is the power of a clear purpose. It transforms mundane tasks into meaningful acts. It reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing. It helps you overcome fatigue and discouragement because you're not just doing things for others, but for yourself. You are building a life of purpose, a life with meaning. 6. Listen more and talk less. The power of active listening. We live in an age where conversations often turn into silent competitions to see who can talk the most or best showcase their ideas. But what if we allowed ourselves to truly listen? What could we learn? Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, believed patience to be one of the most powerful virtues, and active listening requires exactly that. Listening doesn't simply mean remaining silent while someone else speaks. It means being fully present, with an open mind, without the urge to respond or judge. When we truly listen, we create a space for empathy, learning, and deeper relationships. Consider a simple story. Lucas, a man in his 30s, always believed that a conversation was best when he could express his opinions. He thought his presence was more impactful when he spoke often, always sharing his ideas and experiences. However, those around him, though they liked him, began to feel that Lucas wasn't truly present. Although he was physically there, his words blocked any attempt at a more authentic and sincere exchange. One day, he faced a tough challenge at work and, frustrated, tried to find a solution on his own without much success. In a conversation with his boss, he received unexpected advice. Lucas, maybe the problem isn't the project itself, but the fact that you're not listening to other people's ideas. Try listening to your colleagues. See what they have to say. Somewhat skeptical, he decided to give it a try. He began listening carefully, observing and understanding others' perspectives. With each exchange, he felt he was not only learning more, but also connecting more deeply with his colleagues. The project started to make more sense, solutions emerged naturally, and Lucas understood the value of active listening. This experience transformed Lucas. He realized that truly listening can be more powerful than speaking. By listening with patience and an open mind, he discovered that learning about others was also a way of learning more about himself. This is the teaching of Epictetus. We should absorb what is offered in the present moment without rushing to respond. Active listening is, in fact, a way of life, a practice that strengthens not only our relationships, but also our understanding of the world and our personal wisdom. By practicing attentive listening, you begin to pick up on nuances in conversations, details that were once imperceptible. The connection with those around you becomes stronger because deep down, everyone wants to be heard and understood. And you become wiser because listening more means learning more. Try a simple exercise. In your next conversation, focus on listening more than talking. Notice how people respond, how this impacts the dynamic of the conversation, and how you see more value in every word the other person shares. Over time, you'll find that listening is a skill that transforms not only the relationships around you, but also your way of seeing the world. If this reflection resonated with you, leave the keyword listening in the comments. Like the video and subscribe to the channel for more transformative content. By practicing active listening, you'll see that the journey to true wisdom begins when we learn to listen. Evening reflection. Imagine the scene. The day is coming to an end. The sun has already set and stars are beginning to shine in the sky, marking the close of another cycle. You're sitting in a quiet spot, maybe in a comfortable chair, or even lying in bed with your mind filled with the events of the day. It's in this moment when the world slows down and silence seems to embrace everything around you that the true magic of reflection happens. Evening reflection is a simple but powerful habit. It's the practice of taking time to look back at the choices we made, the words we spoke, the actions we took, and even those things we left undone. It's not an exercise in regret or excessive self criticism, but a moment of self understanding, growth, and above all, learning. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to lose ourselves in the hustle and bustle of daily life? So many responsibilities, commitments, and people demanding our attention that we often act on autopilot without even reflecting on the impact of our choices. But at the end of each day, what truly matters are the moments we take to reflect, to pause, and observe what happened. It may seem simple, but evening reflection can be a turning point for a more conscious and meaningful life. This is what once happened to Sophia. She was a young woman deeply involved with her work, daily tasks, and social commitments. She constantly felt pressured and often made impulsive decisions without even considering the consequences. It was as if time was always against her, and in the end, she felt exhausted, frustrated, and worse, disconnected from herself. One night, after another busy day, she decided to stop. She sat on a chair on the balcony with a cup of tea in hand and simply looked at the horizon. At first, her mind was filled with thoughts, the work she'd left aside, an argument with a friend, the feeling that there was more to do. But then she began asking herself, how did I feel today? What did I do well? What could I have done differently? These simple questions opened the door to a wave of self-awareness. Sophia realized that day, she had made some impulsive decisions, reacted angrily in a situation that could have been resolved more calmly, and noticed she hadn't expressed her gratitude to the important people in her life. But instead of criticizing herself, she used that moment to identify behavioral patterns and think about how she could act differently in the future. For Sophia, reflection wasn't about blaming herself or feeling ashamed, but about learning. She understood that mistakes are part of the journey and that by reflecting on her actions, she was becoming a better version of herself each day. This simple habit of pausing to think about her choices began to shape her mind and actions in a much more conscious way. This is the power of evening reflection. It helps us adjust our internal compass, allowing us to face a new day more prepared, more balanced, and more aware of our choices. By reflecting on our actions, we can see behavioral patterns that often limit us, and we can alter them, transforming our future. It's as if reflection were a tool that lets us rewrite our own story with more wisdom and clarity. The process of reflection doesn't have to be long or complicated. It's simple but profound. It can take just 10 or 15 minutes, but if you're sincere with yourself, the impact can be immense. Ask yourself, what did I learn today? How can I be a better version of myself tomorrow? What actions can I take to be more at peace with myself? You will see that as you commit to this practice, you'll begin to feel an internal transformation. Your reactions will become more balanced, your decisions more conscious, and above all, you'll start to realize that the control of your destiny is, in fact, in your hands. The simple act of reflecting at night can be the key to unlocking your potential. And the best part, you're not alone in this process. The teachings of great philosophers like Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius constantly remind us of the importance of reflection for personal growth. They taught us that true change doesn't come from grand events, but from small daily actions. By reflecting on what we've done, what we've chosen, and what we've felt, we can learn more about ourselves than we ever imagined. So I invite you to start this practice today. Dedicate a few minutes of your day to reflect, to observe your journey, to understand your reactions, and to learn from them. Don't rush. Let this habit grow naturally and calmly, and you will see how it can transform your life. At the end of each day, when you sit down to reflect on what happened, know that you are taking an important step toward a more conscious, balanced, and purposeful future. And remember, every small act of reflection is a significant step forward in your personal transformation journey. Now, imagine how you'll feel when you adopt this habit in your life. In just a few weeks, you'll be able to look back on your past with a sense of pride and learning, knowing that each day was an opportunity to become the best version of yourself. The simple act of evening reflection could be exactly what you need to completely transform your perspective, bringing peace and clarity amidst the chaos. Congratulations for making it this far and for investing in your personal development. The commitment you've shown in learning and putting these teachings into practice is truly remarkable. You are on the right path to becoming the best version of yourself, and that is something worth celebrating. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, take this opportunity to join us on this journey. Together, let's explore the power of Stoicism and transform the way we live. Don't forget to leave a like, as it helps spread these ideas and inspires more people to seek self-knowledge. And to show me that you are truly committed to your progress, leave the word transformation in the comments. I really want to know what you think about the points covered in this video. I'll see you in the next one with more wisdom and inspiration for your journey.